BBC Breakfast Charlie Stayt was forced to issue an apology during Friday's live broadcast after a technical blunder disrupted a report about the late Gene Hackman, leading to a series of on-air errors that left viewers baffled. The incident occurred during a segment discussing the Hollywood legend's passing, which was overshadowed by a lingering image on screen as the program shifted to a controversial BBC documentary about Gaza. ### Gene Hackman's passing and ongoing investigation. Police have launched an investigation into the death of Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, after the couple was found deceased in their New Mexico home on Thursday. Authorities have not yet confirmed the cause of death but have stated that they are looking into the circumstances surrounding the incident. Hackman, a two-time Academy Award winner and one of Hollywood's most revered actors, was 94 years old at the time of his passing. Hackman, known for his roles in classics such as The French Connection, Unforgiven and Superman, had retired from acting in the early 2000s and lived a quiet life in Santa Fe with his wife. His death has led to an outpouring of tributes from the entertainment industry, with fellow actors, directors, and fans expressing their admiration for his illustrious career and contributions to cinema. #BBC Breakfast's technical mishap. During BBC Breakfast's Friday morning broadcast, the show aired a pre-recorded segment honoring Hackman's life and career, which concluded with a photograph of the legendary actor. However, due to a technical glitch, the image remained on screen as host Charlie Stayt transitioned to the next story, an update on the controversy surrounding a BBC documentary about Gaza. As Stayt began, the BBC has apologized for serious flaws in the production of a documentary about the war in Gaza. The image of Hackman continued to be displayed, creating confusion among viewers. Realizing the mistake, Stayt hesitated before attempting to correct the error, stating, "Apologies, let's just get that bit straightened out." The image was eventually removed, but before Stayt could continue discussing the documentary, another technical issue occurred, abruptly cutting to a live feed of a BBC reporter in Kiev who was waiting to deliver a separate report on Ukraine. This series of blunders did not go unnoticed by viewers, many of whom took to social media to mock the production mishaps. One viewer tweeted, "Work experience trainee producing #BBC Breakfast this morning?" highlighting the frustration and humor surrounding the situation. The controversy over the BBC's Gaza documentary. The mishap occurred against the backdrop of a wider scandal involving the BBC's recent documentary, Gaza: How to Survive a Warzone. The program, which was meant to shed light on the struggles faced by civilians in Gaza, became the subject of intense scrutiny after it was revealed that the narrator, Abdullah al-Yazuri, is the son of Ayman al-Yazuri, a deputy agriculture minister in the Hamas government. The BBC was forced to admit that its independent production company, Hoyo Films, had failed to disclose this information prior to the documentary's airing. Following backlash, the BBC removed the program from iPlayer and issued a formal apology, acknowledging serious flaws in the making of the program. The controversy escalated further when anti-Hamas protesters gathered outside BBC headquarters in London, accusing the network of biased reporting and demanding transparency over the documentary's production. #BBC's response and investigations. In response to the growing criticism, the BBC has initiated a full review of the documentary's production process. A statement from the corporation read, "BBC News has conducted an initial review on the program Gaza: How to Survive a Warzone. Today the BBC board was updated on that work. It has identified serious flaws in the making of this program. Some of these were made by the production company, and some by the BBC. All of them are unacceptable. BBC News takes full responsibility for these and the impact that these have had on the corporation's reputation. We apologize for this." The statement further explained that while the production company was independent, the BBC retained ultimate editorial responsibility for the content that was broadcast. It also confirmed that the BBC had asked the production company multiple times about any potential connections between the narrator and Hamas, but the company only admitted knowledge of the connection after the documentary aired. The BBC added that a limited sum of money was paid to al-Yazuri's mother for her son's narration services via his sister's bank account. The corporation insisted that there was no evidence to suggest that any money had gone to Hamas or its affiliates, but announced that it would conduct a full audit to ensure complete financial transparency. Implications and future actions. Given the severity of the situation, BBC Director General Tim Davie has ordered a fact-finding review, to be led by Peter Johnston, the Director of Editorial Complaints and Reviews. Johnston, who operates independently of BBC News, has been tasked with determining whether any editorial guidelines were breached and whether disciplinary action should be taken. The BBC has also pledged to expedite complaints related to the documentary through its editorial complaints unit, which operates separately from BBC News. As part of this review, the BBC will examine concerns regarding translation accuracy, continuity errors, and overall editorial standards. The BBC has confirmed that it has no plans to broadcast the program again in its current form or return it to iPlayer, and will wait for Johnston's findings before making any decisions on its future availability. #The fallout and public reaction. The controversy surrounding Gaza, how to survive a war zone, has reignited debates over the BBC's journalistic integrity and the challenges of reporting on conflicts in the Middle East. While the BBC maintains that its reporting is impartial and based on factual evidence, critics argue that the failure to uncover the narrator's Hamas connection before airing the documentary represents a significant oversight. The incident has also prompted calls for stricter oversight of third-party production companies working with major broadcasters. Media experts suggest that independent filmmakers should be required to disclose all potential conflicts of interest up front to prevent similar situations from occurring in the future. Meanwhile, the BBC Breakfast Blunder has been viewed as an unfortunate but relatively minor mistake in comparison to the larger controversy. However, it has fueled criticism of the network's overall handling of the situation, with some arguing that the repeated errors reflect a broader issue of declining production standards. Conclusion. As the BBC continues its internal review and awaits the results of the fact-finding investigation, the fallout from both the technical blunders on BBC Breakfast and the Gaza documentary controversy underscores the delicate balance that media organizations must maintain when reporting on complex and sensitive global issues. For now, the BBC remains under pressure to regain public trust and demonstrate greater transparency in its editorial processes.